Hello everyone, my name is Marcus Parry and I lead the Nokia Safety and Security Organisation. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to speak to you today, our suppliers and partners. I want to take a few minutes of your time to share with you an overview of our 2022 safety performance and also explain more about a new requirement for road safety, our Nokia life-saving rules, and finally share with you a new initiative of a health and safety recognition program. Now at Nokia, the health and safety of our employees, all those who work for or with Nokia, remains our #1 priority. Even though the industries we work in have many high-risk activities, our ambition remains to have 0 fatalities or critical incidents. Now to achieve this requires you and everyone working for you performing high-risk activities to always follow the rules. We want everyone to go home safely. So let's now turn our attention to our 2022 safety performance so far. Overall, so far in 2022, our number of incidents that we've had is less than 2021. However, we have had 5 fatalities. Even one is too many within Nokia. I'll just go through those fatalities now. We had a supplier back in December 2021 who was hit by a train on a rail project, and sadly they died in 2022. In March, we had a fatality in Pakistan involving a member of the public. Now, a Nokia subcontractor team that needed to do an emergency refueling operation decided to do so by taking a 3-wheeler rickshaw. During that journey, that rickshaw got hit by an oncoming vehicle. The driver of the rickshaw died, and the 2 Nokia subcontractors were badly injured. Now, this could have been avoided if that subcontractor team had followed the Nokia rules, which are use 4-wheeler vehicle and always wear a seatbelt. And you must remember here that use of 3-wheelers and 2-wheeler motorbikes in Nokia operations is not allowed. In May, a subcontractor team were completing civil works on top of a building. They were working at night. The subcontractor had climbed a ladder and have fallen off it and down the stairwell. And the subcontractor subsequently died from their injuries. Now, this also could have been avoided if they'd followed the rules. A, working at night is strongly discouraged at Nokia, unless special permission is given. And secondly, that subcontractor should be better supervised and fastened to a structure. You'll hear more about this word being fastened to a structure later on. In July, we had 2 fatal incidents, one of which is in Tanzania. Again, a Nokia team were out doing a refueling exercise at a site. They were in a vehicle. They were going up a steep hill to try and access the site itself. While going up that steep hill, the driver had problems with the gear changing, lost control of the vehicle, and the vehicle subsequently rolled over many times down the steep hillside, crushing the cab and 2 of the occupants. Again, the rules weren't followed, and we found out through our investigation that the actual driver of the vehicle at the time was not trained to be a driver. The second fatal incident in July was in India, where a 2-man team were completing an MPO activity. Now, one of them was a climber on top of the antenna, and while moving from one part of the tower to another, he fell off 18 meters, sustained fatal injuries, and died later in hospital. Again, this could have been avoided if the climber had followed one of the Nokia life-saving rules and had been attached, or as we say, fastened to the structure. Now, Nokia is incredibly sad, frustrated for those individuals, the families and friends of those who died in each of these incidents. Each of these could have been avoided if they'd followed the rules. I spoke earlier about the fatal incidents that we've had so far this year, and 2 of those involved vehicles. Now, from previous years' incident analysis, we have seen an increase in the number of fatal critical high potential incidents that involve motor vehicle accidents. Our investigations reveal that in the majority of cases, it was driver behavior was the main contributing factor to the accident occurring. In half motor vehicle accidents, there was a breach in Nokia's life-saving rules of either passengers not wearing seatbelts, drivers driving with excessive speed or fatigued, or being distracted while driving. Now, to mitigate the risk of people who drive for Nokia, Nokia has updated its road safety standard, and we now require an in-vehicle monitoring system as mandatory in all of our supplier fleet. Now, the use of in-vehicle monitoring systems, or IVMS, isn't new to Nokia or to our suppliers in the Middle East and Africa, as it's been a requirement for them for a number of years. And for those of you in MEA, we've sent out a survey request for benchmark information on your current use of IVMS systems. If you've not responded to the survey, please do so quickly. For the rest of you who are not part of Middle East and Africa, we're starting the process of implementing IVMS globally, and you'll receive an update on our expectations soon. Now, Nokia is taking IVMS very seriously, so please do work with us on implementing it across our vehicles fleet globally. Now, we want to make sure that we do everything we can to stop these types of incidents happening again. And so I'd like to speak to you about one area where we believe we can dramatically improve our safety performance, and that is through knowledge of and following the Nokia life-saving rules. The Nokia life-saving rules have been around within Nokia operations for many years now, and they are as relevant now as they were in the past. And Nokia's a zero tolerance policy for not following the life-saving rules, or for someone not enabling them to be followed, or for someone knowingly permitting a breach of the rules. The life-saving rules are non-negotiable. Now, we're asking you to pledge and commit to educating your employees that do high-risk activities on the life-saving rules and make them aware. And just to remind you, there are 6. The first 3 rules are related to road safety. First one being, always wear a seatbelt in any vehicle. Second one, do not drive distracted or tired. And the third one, always drive at a safe speed for the road conditions, traffic, and local weather. The next 2 rules are related to working at height. First one, always attach yourself and your equipment when working at height. This is why we insist on double harnesses being used for climbing. This is where fasten comes in. The second life-saving rule, working at height, is always have a drop zone in place below where you are working at height, and make sure that no one enters it. And the final life-saving rule in Nokia has to do with electrical work. Do not work live on any electrical equipment or systems unless you are trained. Not trained, don't touch. By now you have received the life-saving rules pledge by email, and so far 30% of you have signed the safety pledge and returned it committing to follow the rules. Those who have not signed the safety pledge, we will resend it, and I ask you to commit to and actively distribute the 6 life-saving rules to everyone who works for you. Now, this pledge and the rules themselves are a living, breathing document and covers all who work at Nokia, current employees and new employees. And knowledge of these life-saving rules is mandatory for everyone who works for Nokia. I'd now like to share with you a new program implemented last year, namely our Nokia Health and Safety Recognition Program. Just before I do that, though, I'd like to remind you that Nokia does already have an established consequence management program that is robust, transparent, and sustainable. And this consequence management program ensures that negative consequences are felt by those who fail to comply to the Nokia safety standards. Remember, the consequences themselves can be severe as stopping work for Nokia by a subcontractor due to poor safety performance and not following the Nokia standards and life-saving rules. However, we now wish to put more focus on the things that we all do right. We want to learn from such cases where we got safety right and ideally repeat and standardise conditions that made the success possible. So we now have our Health and Safety Recognition Programme, which we aim to spotlight good practice events, initiatives, and positively recognise suppliers and Nokia employees who have significantly contributed to a safer working environment. Now, we'll be looking for examples that were innovative, and created a safer working environment for all. And we're particularly interested and want to give recognition to examples from where the work activity was particularly challenging from a safety point of view, and where we can then share the example across all of our operations for the benefit of everyone, wherever they are in the world. Now, you'll be able to learn more about how to nominate yourself or someone by reaching out to your local Nokia safety contact. And I do look forward to positively recognizing as many of you as possible in the future through this program. And in closing, everyone who's working on behalf of Nokia, regardless of their seniority or employment status, is responsible for following, promoting, and compliance with our Nokia and life-saving rules. So please continue to raise awareness and engagement for Nokia life-saving rules within your organizations, and make sure your teams comply with all the safety standards, as they are non-negotiable if you are to work for Nokia. And we continue to strive for zero incidents, and with your help, we can achieve it. Again, thank you for your time, and please reach out to me or the Nokia Health and Safety Organization at any time on the topic of safety when you're working for Nokia.